Sometimes designer renovation is not about beautiful and modern interiors, but a set of outdated and funny solutions that people have dreamed of since the early 2000s. I will show you the most inappropriate things that externally cheapen your apartment a lot, from obvious options like foam on the ceiling to fashionable white interiors that have long been out of fashion in reality. And at the end, there will be the most terrible designer decision that will send your apartment back a couple of decades. But let's talk about renovation. And I'll start not with the most obvious things. Modern interior strives for refined functionality, and old standalone wardrobes are gradually becoming a thing of the past. Today, built-in wardrobes that cover the space from floor to ceiling are in trend. This not only gives the interior a modern look, but also eliminates the need for constant dusting under the furniture. For those looking to save, an optimal option might be to measure the available space for a wardrobe and choose a ready-made option for the needed size. This is a great way to save money and at the same time integrate the wardrobe organically into the room design. The previously popular solution of dividing the floor into two different coverings in one room is giving way to modern trends. Today, the trend is to use a single covering throughout the area of the room. This approach eliminates unnecessary joints and transitions, creating the impression of a unified and harmonious space. Such execution adds style and modernity to the interior. These days, some apartments still resemble the palatial chambers of imperial times. Golden toilets, ornate furniture, and everything in that spirit. This is especially noticeable among those who suddenly become rich or strive to demonstrate it to everyone entering. However, true connoisseurs among wealthy people never resort to overly displaying their financial capabilities. They design the space using high-quality materials, exquisite hand decor, and other elements, the cost of which is hidden behind intuitive perception. Especially inappropriate and even pitiable look attempts to introduce Victorian-style elements into tiny typical apartment spaces using cheap materials such as foam, plastic, and other inexpensive accessories. The situation is not better in cases where the owner tries to save even on foam and gilding, creating columns, moldings, and other elements from paper mache or plaster without the corresponding skills. Those who cannot resist excesses should understand that the rich and expensive style is no longer relevant and only emphasizes the owner's inability to create comfort in their dwelling, not their wealth. And shabby gold paint on white plaster only evokes a sympathetic smile. Plastic skirting, once widely used in finishing, now looks very outdated. Nowadays, the preference is given to polymer or MDF skirting. These materials are not only more durable, but also harmoniously fit into modern interiors. In addition, there are more luxurious options, such as skirting hidden behind doors or on springs, which add sophistication to the space. There are also interesting alternative methods for treating joints without using skirting at all, where the floor transitions into the wall without a gap. When buying a new building with an open layout, it's better to prefer zoning the space. Solid walls with doors are justified in the case where there are many family members, each of whom requires personal space. The same applies to wardrobes or closets hidden behind doors. Today, a wide space is considered trendy, where the kitchen naturally transitions into the living room and then into the bedroom area. It's not necessary to leave all rooms open. Modern designers use partitions, sliding barn doors, and curtains to create different zones within one large space. For storage, functional solutions are suitable, such as built-in hidden wardrobes in walls, under the bed, in the podium, or under window frames. This allows for maintaining clean lines in the interior and making the most of the space. Previously, a popular solution was spotlights placed all over the ceiling or along its perimeter, just a year ago. However, today, such lighting is considered outdated and not very aesthetic. Often, this solution creates many bright spots on the ceiling, which can irritate the eyes with improper light placement. In modern interiors, it is preferable to use track systems and light lines. They provide more flexible light direction settings and allow for combining different types of lighting. For example, in open-plan spaces, such as combined kitchen and living room, you can separate lighting into zones. Use track lighting for the living room and spotlights or pendant lights for the kitchen. This not only gives the interior a stylish look, but also provides practical and effective lighting for different functional areas of the room. Returning from trips or receiving guests who have returned from different corners of the world often accompanies the flooding of the apartment with souvenirs that everyone wants to bring with them. Soon, it seems that refrigerators, shelves, cabinets, and the like turn into real galleries. The apartment not only looks overloaded, but maintaining cleanliness becomes a problem. Lift and wipe every figurine. Magnets start to yellow over time, and ethnic crafts just fall apart. The solution to such a problem begins with the realization of the need to control the number of souvenirs and items brought from trips. Although they can be memorable, sometimes it's better to choose only the most significant ones. To maintain order, you can create a storage system and discipline yourself in relation to new acquisitions. Don't forget about the one-in, one-out rule. If something new is acquired, then something old must go. This will help not only maintain order, but also emphasize the importance of each item in the interior. Glossy stretch ceilings were popular in the past, but today they've lost their relevance. These ceilings have the disadvantage of reflecting light, creating unpleasant glare, and showing any imperfections or unevenness of the surface. In modern interiors, it is preferable to choose matte or semi-matte stretch ceilings. They give the room a more stylish and neat look, as well as being able to create a cozier and more pleasant atmosphere. They better hide imperfections and are not prone to glare problems from light, making them a more practical and aesthetic solution for modern interiors. In the late 90s, the high-tech style was in fashion, and many sought to move away from the traditional classic, which had long been the dominant design option for living rooms. Apartments began to feature sets of glossy furniture in bright, unnatural shades, with an abundance of chrome and plastic surfaces, sharp angles, and straight lines. Initially, this looked bold and modern, but over time, this trend gave way to cozier and more organic styles, such as Scandinavian, neoclassical, minimalism, and eco-design. Today, Scandinavian style with its natural lightness, minimalist and functional approach, and the return to classic elements in a new context have become more popular. These directions lend coziness, comfort, and at the same time emphasize style and functionality of the space. Traditional decorative curtain rods are gradually becoming a thing of the past, giving way to more modern options. Today's designers prefer built-in rods or minimalist alternatives. They look more concise and are able to harmoniously fit into the room design. Built-in rods ensure smoother and more even curtain movement along the window. Moreover, there are spring-loaded or aluminum rods that can be hidden in the wall or ceiling, creating a clearer and more contemporary appearance. Foam ceiling tiles are a fairly budget-friendly and attractive solution that many prefer to save money. But there's one problem. After a couple of years, these tiles start to yellow or gray, further cheapening your renovation. Nowadays, it's easier to pay a little extra for a proper stretch ceiling than to refresh ceiling tiles every couple of years. Previously, wallpapers with various landscapes, seasides, and city views were very popular in interiors. Remember those? However, in modern designs, the preference is given to more restrained and stylish wallpaper options. Geometric patterns, abstract compositions, botanical motifs, and other contemporary designs have become the preferred choice. They give the interior a more modern and relevant look, and contribute to creating an elegant atmosphere in the room. Brightly colored wallpapers immediately cheapen the appearance of your house. Popular in the past, rainbow LED lighting, especially relevant in your kitchens, has now become a thing of the past and is unlikely to return to interior design in the next few years. Officially, such bright LEDs, flashing in multicolored lights, are now associated more with children's parties and Christmas trees. Today, two types of lighting are preferred in the kitchen, either cool white light, which gives the room a more modern look, or warm light, close to natural sunlight. These lighting options create a cozy atmosphere and visually transform the kitchen space, making it functional and pleasant to be in. Bright kitchens deter many real estate buyers. These sets, which appeared in the 2000s, replaced the massive wooden cabinets of the classic style. Smooth surfaces are still in fashion, but designers suggest moving away from overly bright and acidic colors. Instead of orange, red, and bright shades, it's preferable to choose a kitchen that organically fits into the overall space of the room, not standing out like a foreign spot. The modern approach involves integrating furniture into the walls, with special attention to built-in appliances. Thus, refrigerators and dishwashers can be hidden behind cabinet doors, blending perfectly with the rest of the interior. The trend now is the absence of upper rows of cabinets, and instead, open shelves are often used, giving the kitchen a lighter and more open look. The rejection of three-dimensional paintings on the backsplash is also a characteristic feature of modern kitchen interiors. Remember when everyone chased after sets of chairs and sofas? But now, a monotonous interior is not in vogue. Today, in modern design, the idea of combining different furniture elements is welcomed. This allows for creating interesting contrast and a unique style for the room. For example, you can combine different styles, materials, and color solutions to achieve a more exciting and individual design. Such mixing can include modern elements in combination with classics, eclectic combinations, or a play of textures and shades. This approach helps create an interior that reflects uniqueness and style, emphasizing the individuality of the residents of the space, not a standard solution with two huge chairs and a terrible sofa. Shower cabins went out of fashion about 3 years ago. These non-ergonomic and bulky containers have now given way to built-in cabins with fully closing glass or plastic doors up to the ceiling. Such a solution differs in successful design. There are no protruding elements around the perimeter of the shower, as well as unnecessary buttons, corners, or figured walls. Everything is hidden and looks neat, creating a more minimalist and modern look in the bathroom. The use of thresholds to frame the joint of two different floor coverings is gradually becoming obsolete. Today, the trend is minimalist thresholds or their complete absence. Floor coverings are laid almost without gaps, leaving a microscopic slit that is filled with sealant, matching the color of one of the used floor materials. This approach creates a sense of unified space without visible breaks and joints, giving the interior a more harmonious and contemporary look. In the past, the wall under the television was the main element in the living room. The focus on the TV area required appropriate design of the rest of the space. However, these days, many prefer to forego large TVs in the center of the room, opting to use personal laptops or watch movies on a projector. Modern technology doesn't require much space. Plasma panels are made as slim as possible and mounted directly to the wall. The panel becomes maximally inconspicuous. Sometimes it is placed on a dark, matte surface to blend in with the surrounding interior. This approach helps create a more minimalist and calm living room design, where the TV does not immediately catch the eye. After all, no one is impressed by the screen size anymore. In the past, the use of uniform and dull color palettes, such as only white or beige in interiors, was very popular. However, in modern designs, there is an increasing preference for bright and lively colors, as well as interesting and unconventional combinations and contrasts. Color accents have become an important means of highlighting and creating interesting details in the interior. Bold choices in color selection bring life and individuality to the space, making it more dynamic and attractive. Whether it's a bright yellow chair and a crazy red sofa among white walls, it helps make your home more stylish and upscale. Not so long ago, many with a sufficient budget aspired to install drywall boxes on the ceiling with extravagant complexity and multi-level design. This was common both in small rooms like Khrushchevka apartments with low 8.2-foot ceilings and 130 square feet of space, and in luxurious mansions spanning several thousand square feet. Everyone tried to keep up with the trend, although it turned out to be not the most gratifying endeavor. Such designs were recommended by both professional designers and builders themselves, for whom such creations brought a decent income. The same happened with the widespread introduction of arches, built-in shelves with lighting, created from structures clad in the same drywall. But over time, and with experience, it became clear that such elements are impractical, wherever they may be located. Especially they became a concern in tiny spaces, already overloaded. Constant chips, scratches, and damage. And in most cases, it looks ridiculous and unsophisticated. So making such decisions now is practically a death sentence for your home. No matter how cool the interior is, tasteless gypsum coffins will take away all the living spaces. But don't be upset if something from this list also applies to you. Fashion is very cyclical, and something may become popular again. Right now, everyone is hunting for Soviet-era chairs and nightstands, restoring and turning them into designer solutions.